I don't respect 10 as a number, I dislike it. I wish ill upon it. There is no reason that a number as unremarkable as 10 should be given such a high stature, but 10 is a cool number and is essential for almost everything you might say. Absolute bollocks. I can write an essay about how bad 10 is, but to keep it relatively short, the only reason 10 is considered special is because we follow the base 10 decimal number system. It has just this one thing going on for it. But guess what? Base 10 is a horrendous way to count. There are many superior versions like base 12 and base 6 that are easy to learn and more viable, especially when doing division. Also, finger counting is better in base 6, so please don't spread your humans have 10 fingers propaganda. Yes, I know. The metric system and all existing documentation are in base 10, but that's just one of the ways big decimal shills are manipulating you. Do you really want to use a bad number system just because it has always been like that? What is this if not Stockholm Syndrome? If you don't want to become a mere statistic, it's high time you stand up for yourself. TLDR, I loathe how the number 10 is glorified and admired by people. Edit, yes, I know it is not intuitive to count in other bases, but that's just because you have been accustomed to decimal. Analogous to language, it is hard to pick up a new one. Also, I am aware the metric system will get destroyed if we change the base. That's not the point. If we had chosen a different base at inception, then metric system, math, and day-to-day life would have evolved with it, making that version of counting just as intuitive as decimal. I heavily disagree. But I'm giving you the upvote for the actual unpopular opinion and the explanation. I haven't a fucking clue what you just said, but it isn't political or obnoxious, so kudos for that. This has copy pasta potential. Stockholm Syndrome, bahaha. 12/12ths post. This is exactly what the sub is for. 12 stars. Reject modernity. Embrace tradition. Return to base 12. Why the fuck am I so infuriated by your post? Why do I now have a strong urge to beat anyone who uses any number other than 10? WTF kind of sci-fi bullshit is this? Is internalized decimalism a thing or something? Why the fuck am I so triggered? I love the politics here. If you post a legit edgy opinion, you get mixed reviews. If you rant about the frickin' number 10, you get gold. Just dealing with the moronic us measures systems makes me like base 10 systems even more. Base 12 is far more versatile, since 12 can be evenly divided by 2, 3, 4, and 6. I think the Babylonians used base 60 or something like that. Enjoy your shitty hexadecimal system and my upvote, ya fucking nerd. We can work in any numeric system we wish. One option is that we could all just be computers and count in binary, but numbers would get many more digits in their strings. It's also not practical to use overly huge systems like base 24, or God forbid base 60. Too many extra symbols to have to remember and use. So we need a system somewhere in the middle which balances both of these considerations. Base 10 is one such balance. Perhaps recall how you learned to count as a child. It was likely while watching Sesame Street, or some other children's show, and counting quantities on your fingers. This is the story for many children worldwide, including myself. I'm not a historian, so I can't comment of the historical precedence of base 10, but I do teach mathematics at a university, so I do know something about representations of learning in the real world. It's incredibly useful to have something in your hands that you can manipulate to physically model the mathematics you're trying to learn. Well, what better to help you count than your own fingers? Since we have 10 of them, it's only natural to prefer base 10. It's not right, nor wrong to use others, just natural. That's the end of my argument, but now I'm going to give my personal opinion. Having such an emotional reaction to something as simple as a number is absurd. It reveals a level of emotional engagement on your part that is likely to cause you to not reason honestly. I think your willingness to call an argument about why base 10 is useful for humans as propaganda reveals this. It's not propaganda, it's just basic pedagogy. In general, being disinterested, not uninterested, but disinterested, that is, not being emotionally engaged in the topic, makes it more likely that someone will reason more honestly about the topic. Yeah, who wants decimal system? Let's go binary. I rate this 10 stars, in binary. Here comes the 9-finger 9-toe man to preach his beliefs. Begone. How it's finger counting better in base 6. I don't know if you realized this, but when you count in any base, it'll be called base 10 in that base. Take binary for example, there are only two numbers 0, 1 and the number 2, from decimal base, is written as 10, although you're reading it as 10, it's essentially the same as 10. Similarly, in base 12 you will have 12 different symbols, but it will still be called base 10 in its own base. Any number is its own base is written as 10, we read it as 10 for other bases, but in decimal we have a name for it, 10. That's why I think 10 is beautiful. Not sure if I was clear in getting my point across, a good unpopular opinion nevertheless. I don't really understand this, but I somehow agree. Fuck 10. WTF. The only number should be 10. All other numbers are untenable. Can we make this the 10th most popular post of all time on the sub? Your hate is misguided. 10 will always be 10, no matter what base you're in. Its value will change, but it will still be 10. You want base 6? Great. You don't hate 10, you hate yourself. No, don't diss 10 as a number, diss 10 as a value. 10 is the best thing possible as it is used in all number systems that are easy to work with. Think binary/denary/hex, however 10 can go fuck itself. When your life is so great that you come up with problems yourself. I am not trying to bash you or anything, I am genuinely curious. How is base 6 better for counting on your fingers? How high are you? 10 is a great number, it looks like a dude holding a scythe. You made me realize how an increase by 10 times is arbitrary and there's nothing even or whole about it. Every other power of increment leads to disorder in the numbers purely because of the base we choose, e.g. -6, 36, 136, 816 only appears messy. It makes me question my intuition of the size of 10-fold increments. This is what happens when people run out of things to be pissed off about. Damn, you sound just like some crazy old flat earther I used to argue with for entertainment. This post is weird, petty, and pointless. That's the Reddit I love. If someone tried to build a computer on base 10, it either failed or didn't catch on. I respect that. It's not intuitive for a lot of people to even consider things like a decimal system instead of the decimal system, but at the end of the day they both have usefulness. There are certain equations in physics that come out a lot cleaner with a decimal system, and the opposite is also true at times. Like I said though, it's really not intuitive to most people to even consider another way of counting once they've learned this way. But also, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. That's just sexy. I agree, a base 12 system would be better. I think 7 is even worse, and hate that a week comprises 7 days. Would be much better as 6 or 8. This is the same logic that keeps Americans on the Fahrenheit/miles train. Def unpopular. Take my upvote. Edit, to add to this, we've got 10 fingers and 10 toes, wonder if that figures into our counting going way back.